Welcome back, League fanboys and fangirls. This is Running Down Mid. I am Exile. With me, as always, is my right-hand man, Funzy. We're going to jump right into it. We had a weekend off, so just one weekend off for the boys.
Did you catch up on your sleep?
I did. No, actually, I did not. We continue to go. Got that solo queue grind going and all that other good stuff. Gotta watch the streamers, you know?
And, yeah, of course, IEM this weekend.
Was there? If you're really into EU, then bravo EU fans, because they got to look good against the trash of the world.
I don't know about trash of the world. Flash Wolves is, I think, hand in hand, at least as good as SKT.
I don't know.
They've won against them.
They have won against them, and North American teams have also Flash Wolves. I'm sorry, Flash Wolves. So, I mean, we're okay there. It's just you have SKT not going. You have Samsung not going. You have C9 not going. I don't see why there was a point in even watching the tournament.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of free time to watch it, especially since one of the matches took 7 hours to play. Game one of that match took 4 hours to complete. So there was a lot of time where you got to know the announcer. Yeah, there was a lot of time.
So 4-hour match, and that is because they don't play on Riot servers because it's not a Riot-sponsored event. And so they don't get the Riot magic rewind button and stuff like that. They just have to deal with it.
Yeah, and they said everything on their end checked out, and I think the last update I saw on their Twitter account was something like it has to be the servers they're connecting to at Riot, and the fact that they don't have a tournament realm to play on locally like most Riot events do.
Yeah, so it was just sad. You see all the top teams in the world bouncing out. They all registered as wanting to focus on the split as the reason why not going to the tournament. And so MSI is going to be real interesting. I mean, we got to see like Calgoo Monsters, Unicorns of Love, Flash Wolves, some of those teams, might show up there on that stage. But the big guys, all the big teams seem like they're going to hold their cards close to their chest and show what they have during the split.
And it seemed like that was the unilateral message we got on Twitter, is every team seemed to want to focus on their split locally. With the prize pools being higher, I think that's become more important to the teams, especially with the recognition that brings to the team too. So.
Yeah. The last thing SKT or Samsung have to do is prove themselves on a world stage at a little tournament, for real. But so it's going to be really interesting to see how MSI is going to shake up when they have the mid-season invitational in 4 or 5 weeks after this. With that being said, let's bring all of our focus back to North American soil, because that's what we love and that's what we talk about. And there's been a few little changes here and there. I feel like every week it seems like the pro teams are watching our video in general, because they really key in on the things that we say and change it up. And that's Liquid. We said last week's video that Team Liquid need to focus their center attention around Piglet. They did just that. If you guys haven't heard, Piglet has now been moved to mid lane. So no Golden Glue, no Link, who was their sub. They just straight up moved Piglet to mid. They added in a new ADC who hasn't played competitively for a year but was on Team Liquid Academy, Youngbin, which is also his real name, he's Youngbin. So that's another Korean on their team. They said to synergize well with Piglet and to synergize with Reignover. So they have three Koreans, 3 South Koreans, to try to break the barrier going on with that team.
Yeah, and if you go back and watch the games, and it was something that was pointed out in one of the articles I read, I had to go back and confirm it, but it looked like Reignover had actually been trying to feed into Piglet in the bot lane, and since bot lane meta right now is really soft, I think that was really hindering him and why we see a soft performance from him. And that could be because the language barrier, maybe because they can actually synergize. He thinks, well, if I could synergize with bot lane, let's get that rolling and see if we can steamroll the bot lane and gain our pressure there. And I think that could be what's affecting the team in a whole. Maybe moving a Korean speaker into mid and bringing another Korean speaker into bottom would give them better synergy over the whole map instead of just the bot lane.
Yeah, because we all know Reignover speaks multiple languages, fluent in English, native tongue is Korean, so that it might help them out. I'm really excited to see that. Hopefully, TL can pull themselves up by their bootstraps and move on. It really looks like they're putting their eggs in the right basket and trying to help Rainover out more in jungle, because he's a top tier jungler. He just hasn't shown it this split. And then moving Piglet to mid lane, a lot of people would say, "Oh man, that's crazy. You know, why would you move an ADC to a mid laner?" We've seen other players move lanes, but if you can play people like Corki or Varus mid, those are ADC champs.
I know, and what's funny is their new ADC is a mid laner. So they're bringing a mid laner in to play ADC, and they're moving an ADC to a mid lane.
That was the only thing that I didn't get, but I think maybe Piglet is just tired of Matt, and he's like, you know what? You deal with him.
I'm going to have Rainover support me in mid lane.
And Rainover is going to be my support.
I'm just happy to find out what Piglet picks second in solo queue. Yes. Apparently he's been mid laning us on autofill.
Apparently he is a mid laner. It's going to be interesting to see what he comes up with. We all know that Piglet is extremely aggressive, which is going to help him a lot in mid lane, a lot in team fights. Maybe because he's not an outlier and not an ADC, he might have some better positioning. Coming back this weekend, TL's games are the most interesting games because of what's just happened.
Well, they're down to a crunch now. They've got 3 more weekends to bring it back. In order to even not face relegation. And that's the big thing that they're pushing for. I mean, yes, you want to hit that benchmark where you're into the playoffs, but that seems like a goal that is a long shot. That would be the equivalent of C9's reverse sweep Cinderella story.
Yeah, so they're not going to reverse sweep into it. And I honestly don't see Team Liquid making playoffs. The numbers are against them, even if they came back and won every match, every weekend going into it. Everybody else, the top 3 teams, would have to fall off significantly for them to even start sniffing or grasping at things. It's really interesting, middle of the pack, but the main goal is to make it to Worlds. The main goal is to make it to playoffs at the end of summer, because it is just a split, and winning spring split is not nearly as impressive or nearly as important as it is to win summer split, because spring split doesn't guarantee you anything. So even fighting all that you could to get into spring split, and then fighting the mountain that you have to fight just to win spring split, is not going to matter as much as if they just do really good, have an upward trend, because they're trending downward dramatically, having an upward trend, and maybe changing their cards so that going into summer they're better prepared for that.
And they can make it into playoffs. They would have to win every game straight right now, and they would have to see some key losses in some key teams. I mean, there's still some teams that are 50-50 right now that could drop down and give them that spot.
Yeah,
but I don't see that happening. I think right now their big push is to not be on the relegation
I think
tournament.
so too. I think so too.
And mostly because I took this week to catch up on the challenger scene, and there were some challenger teams out there with some key Korean players on them that would easily trump them if it came down to it. And you do not want to be in that relegation tournament this time.
I agree. You don't want to. And what's really surprising, more than anything else, is that you have Team Liquid making some moves that's interesting but needed, imperative to not get relegated. You have C9 changing their sub out, so now their sub on their team for support is Winter. So Winter is now their sub instead of Fufu for Smoothie. I don't understand why they would change their sub up, because it didn't seem like Smoothie was having any problems.
And they're still both listed, so it just looks like they picked up a whole nother support sub to back up Smoothie. Maybe grooming?
I don't know. You have 5. You're allowed to have 5 subs, but I don't understand the sub. Like legit, I don't understand the sub for Smoothie when he's the team's main shot caller and he's doing great. They have no problems coming from Smoothie. I don't understand that.
And it seems like it's a reactionary too, right after a 0-2 weekend.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either, and that would be an interesting case.
So that's my question mark going into this coming weekend.
Or weeks, because we don't even know if he'll even get to play. It didn't look like They are going to make a roster change. I haven't heard anything from them, nothing out of their Twitter account. So I don't even think he's going to even see play this weekend. I think they literally picked him up because I think Fufu is definitely transcending into a full-time streamer position.
Okay.
And I think they're bringing Winter on so that he can get some experience in the last half of spring, be it just practicing with the team, so that maybe in summer or maybe season 8 he can step up into that spot. I think Smoothie is good until 2018, though.
Yeah.
As far as contracts go.
I know the only contract that C9 has to worry about is Impact, and with Impact's injury to his hands and having the issues that he's having, that's their biggest question mark. They're trying to fill that question mark with Ray, who obviously is not synergizing with the team at all. Solo queue, he is phenomenal. Team synergistic-wise, though, it's not working out. I don't know. Maybe we might see Smoothie top, and
it could be that just Ray hasn't hit his stride yet in North America. And it is an English learning thing. Maybe he just hasn't quite learned enough yet. And that is like when we saw Impact first come over to the North American teams.
This is true.
He did have a struggle in that first. I want to say 2 splits that he had a struggle.
Yeah, no.
So I mean, if you give him time, and like I said, Impact's contract is all the way into the end of this season. Yeah. So I mean, he'll have this split and you'll have next split to kind of get that under his belt. And he's seeing enough games to where he's not just sitting on the sidelines. Like, he's actually getting some play. Especially last weekend when we saw Impact kind of struggling, they brought in Ray to kind of close out the series. It didn't work out for him, but I mean, Ray is getting play time. He's getting time on the stage.
Yeah. So the biggest thing that worries me is it literally feels like maybe everybody on Team Envy is deaf. They don't, maybe they're blind. They don't hear anything. They don't read anything. They are legit steady as she goes. And they have to be ringing alarms. They have to be scrimming or practicing more. Boys, you're going to get relegated. Like, it's going to happen. TL's doing all they can to make sure that they're not one of the bottom 2 teams. And Envy is just like, well, we're just gonna stay the course.
And I don't know if that's just coaches not reacting to the meta, players not focusing, them not having the backing that some of the other teams have to maybe find other talent to bring in. It's definitely troubling, though, because I don't want to see a team fall to relegation. Because there is some, like I said, thirsty teams in Challenger right now that would snap up that spot in a heartbeat.
Man, if I was on a Challenger team, I would be thirsting and eyeballing Envy right now like nobody's business.
Yeah, you got to watch out. That Mad Life is making plays.
Yeah, so, it's great to be back on. It's great to next week we're coming on to the home stretch or the end of the split. Then we got MSI, and then follow that up 3-week break, and then it's on to summer. So this is the push for the gold and push for the end, and everybody's got things that they got to make up for last week, and still have a lot left in the split left, but that really it only affects the middle of the pack teams right now, because our top 3 teams, they could lose almost every match and still
still hit playoffs.
So it's the middle of the pack and the bottom of the standings that are really pushing. And TL's done some interesting things. Piglet's a world champion. Maybe a new change of scenery, change of pace, and new position might be all that he needs to take them into some glory time. So this coming weekend, extremely interesting. Please watch the TL games, and let's see what Piglet does.
I'm excited.
Me too. With that being said, guys, we want to thank you for all of our viewership. We've only been at this for a little over a month. This is our 5th, 6th video, and we're already almost to 1,000 views. So with that being said, we want to spread that love to you all and give out $10 worth of Riot points to one random lucky subscriber. So if you like us, subscribe us, leave a comment, we'll be able to look you up, DM you, and we'll get your gamer tag from you, and we'll slide you the 10 Riot points. We'll highlight you in our video as a big thank you for next week. So when we come back into action next week, we'll give a big thank you and give you your well-deserved 10 Riot points. And for every milestone that we do, man, we were wanting to give back to the community. You guys are helping us out. This is literally our dream. We want to just keep on doing this, and we appreciate all that you guys do. So again, man, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Well, I'll comment you back. I'm up all night. I'll pick it up, and we can argue about anything. So follow us, keep on hitting us up, and with that, man, GG.
Good game.
GG, man.